The Las Vegas Raiders' recent move to trade Jackor and Bennett to the Philadelphia Eagles in exchange for defensive tackle Thomas Booker has sparked a lot of debate among fans and analysts alike. It's a trade that might seem surprising at first glance, but once you dig deeper into the reasoning behind it, you begin to understand the bigger picture the Raiders are trying to paint. This isn't just a simple swap of players. It's a strategic decision reflecting the direction the new coaching staff and front office want to take the team. Jackor Bennett, who was drafted in the 4th round out of Maryland, was brought into the league by the previous regime. The era of Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler gave way to a new leadership group, and that shift meant Bennett found himself adapting to new philosophies and schemes. Last season, many thought Bennett showed promise, arguably standing out as one of the better corners on the roster. But now, heading into his 3rd year, Bennett has to adjust yet again, as the defense is undergoing a significant transformation under Pete Carroll and Patrick Graham. The system this year is notably different, more complex, more demanding in terms of specific physical traits and versatility. One of the fundamental reasons for Bennett's departure is his position on the depth chart. While talented, he was at best a 4th cornerback, trailing behind Eric Stokes, Cameron Richardson, and Darian Porter. Depending on who you ask, even J.T. Woods, a versatile safety cornerback hybrid signed recently, might have been ahead of Bennett on the pecking order. This makes his chances of seeing significant snaps limited in the upcoming season. The Raiders clearly had to consider the future of their secondary, and the coaching staff's vision didn't seem to align with what Bennett brought to the table. Pete Carroll's preference for defensive backs is very particular. He values long, lanky, athletic players who can stretch the field and use their physical attributes to disrupt opposing offenses. Bennett is athletic, no question, but when you break down the measurements, the height, the wingspan, the arm length, he doesn't quite fit the mold Carroll wants. Looking at the Raiders' top 4 corners, you see a clear pattern. Eric Stokes, Darian Porter, Cameron Richardson, and J.T. Woods all stand above 6 foot 1 inch, and their arm lengths surpass 32 inches. Bennett at 5'11" falls short in those areas. This might seem like a minor detail, but in a defense that relies heavily on physicality and length to cover tight routes and challenge receivers at the catch point, these measurements matter a lot. Beyond physical fit, injury history played a critical role in the decision to move Bennett. The Raiders want to build a team that can withstand the grind of the NFL season, and availability is key. Bennett missed 10 games last season due to a torn labrum, and his shoulder issues have been a recurring problem tracing back to his college days. Shoulder injuries are particularly tricky for defensive backs, especially those who need to press receivers, tackle aggressively, and maintain leverage in coverage. A shoulder that frequently pops out doesn't just affect performance. It limits a player's ability to contribute consistently. Given the physical style the Raiders intend to play, this was a significant concern. The Raiders' defense is evolving into a hybrid system blending elements from both Pete Carroll's and Patrick Graham's schemes. This fusion demands versatility and physicality from its players, particularly in the secondary and up front in the trenches. The coaching staff likely evaluated Bennett's ability to fit into this evolving scheme and concluded he might not be the ideal piece moving forward. There's speculation that the Raiders might have considered trying Bennett on the inside, but his physical profile might not have suited that role either, especially compared to more physically imposing players like Greedy Williams who can handle those interior demands. Switching gears to Thomas Booker, the Raiders appear to have found a player who better fits their immediate needs on the defensive line. Booker brings a blend of explosiveness, technique, and athleticism that the Raiders believe can bolster their defensive tackle rotation. While he might be smaller than some defensive tackles, his quick first step and ability to get underneath offensive linemen make him a disruptive force. Comparisons have been made to players like Adam Butler, someone who isn't the biggest on the field but uses leverage, quickness, and savvy to make an impact. The Raiders hope Booker can develop into that kind of presence in their front seven. Another factor supporting the Booker acquisition is the depth and injury concerns on the Raiders' defensive line. Christian Wilkins, a key piece of the defensive front, has been battling injuries, and the team's other defensive tackles like Laquan Martin have also faced setbacks. When a young player like Lucky Fu showed up to practice wearing a walking boot, it became clear the Raiders needed more reliable depth in the trenches. Booker offers a fresh option who could potentially step up and provide the consistency and health that the team desperately needs. The coaching staff's faith in Booker also comes from their confidence in their own ability to develop talent. Rob Leonard, the Raiders' defensive line coach, has a reputation for turning raw players into solid contributors. Booker fits the profile of a player with flashes of brilliance but lacking consistency, someone Leonard's technique-focused coaching can help refine. Booker's thick frame and upper body power suggest he can learn to hold his ground better against offensive linemen, a skill vital for the multiple front schemes the Raiders intend to use. Whether in a 5-2 or a 4-3 alignment, Booker's role will be to disrupt blockers and create opportunities for others around him. There's also a front office connection that likely influenced this trade. Both Anthony Patch, the Raiders' senior personnel executive, and Brandon Hunt, the vice president of player personnel, came from Philadelphia. Their familiarity with Booker's talent and potential likely played a role in identifying him as a valuable asset. Sometimes, these connections provide insight into players that other teams overlook. Booker might have been buried in the Eagles' depth chart simply because their defensive tackle room was stacked, limiting his chances to shine. The Raiders are betting that a change of scenery and a coaching staff that believes in him will unlock his true potential. Leadership qualities also stand out when evaluating Booker. He was a 3-year starter and team captain at Stanford, a fact that fits perfectly with the Raiders' emphasis on commitment and leadership. Last year, out of the 11 players the Raiders drafted, 9 were team captains, a clear sign that the team values players who lead by example on and off the field. Pete Carroll's mantra of commitment to excellence is more than just a slogan. It's a foundation for the culture the Raiders want to build. Bringing in a player like Booker, who has demonstrated leadership in his college days, aligns with this vision. In contrast, while Jackor Bennett showed promise as a cornerback, his skill set and physical traits seemed more specialized and less adaptable to the Raiders' defensive vision. With a crowded cornerback room featuring players who have a more prototypical build and skill set, Bennett was at risk of becoming a tweener, a player who doesn't quite fit any one role perfectly and thus struggles to carve out a consistent spot on the field. The Raiders' coaching staff, especially Pete Carroll and Patrick Graham, have made it clear that they value plus traits such as exceptional length, elite closing speed, or rare instincts that set certain defensive backs apart. In this light, Bennett's profile became less aligned with the team's long-term plans. Another dimension to consider is the Raiders' analytical approach to injury management and durability. Modern NFL teams increasingly rely on data-driven evaluations of injury risks, and medical history plays a significant role in personnel decisions. Bennett's history of shoulder injuries likely raised red flags in the Raiders' medical and coaching meetings. The team's investment in player health and availability means that they prefer players with more durable profiles, especially in key positions where physical contact is frequent and intense. This risk management mindset is a hallmark of a forward-thinking organization aiming to maintain consistent performance throughout the grueling 17-game regular season. On the other side, Thomas Booker's relative health and durability, combined with his playing style, present a safer bet. His style of play involves using technique and leverage rather than brute force, which potentially reduces the likelihood of injury. This aspect is crucial for a defensive tackle, a position that often endures heavy physical tolls. The Raiders' decision to bring in Booker also reflects a bet on his developmental trajectory. Although he has yet to break out as a full-time starter, his college career and glimpses in the NFL suggest a high ceiling. The Raiders' coaches believe that with the right coaching and environment, Booker can refine his pass-rushing moves and improve his run defense skills, becoming a disruptive force in their defensive front. The Raiders' defensive scheme itself is also a major factor in this trade. Pete Carroll and Patrick Graham emphasize a hybrid system that blends zone and man principles, with an emphasis on pattern recognition, communication, and physicality. This system demands defensive linemen who can play multiple techniques and defensive backs who can cover various types of receivers and tight ends in different ways. For linemen like Booker, the ability to shift and execute different alignments is critical. His speed and agility allow him to fit in schemes where quick penetration and agility can create havoc for offensive lines. This kind of scheme versatility is vital in today's NFL, where offenses are constantly innovating with motion, shifts, and multi-receiver sets. The trade also reflects the Raiders' broader philosophy of building a roster with a balance between young, developing players and established veterans. Bennett, at just entering his third year, still had upside, but the Raiders felt that the immediate impact of bolstering their defensive line outweighed the potential future returns of retaining Bennett on the roster. Booker, meanwhile, fits the mold of a developmental player who could contribute soon, but also has room for growth. This balancing act between patience with developing talent and a desire for immediate improvements is tricky but necessary in today's NFL, where roster spots are precious and the margin for error is slim. Furthermore, this trade illustrates the importance of coaching evaluations in personnel decisions. While front offices analyze film and data, coaches like Pete Carroll and Patrick Graham have hands-on experience with the players' day-to-day in practice, drills, and meetings. Their feedback often carries significant weight in personnel moves. It's likely that the coaching staff's direct observations of Bennett's technique, work ethic, and fit in their scheme contributed to the decision to part ways with him. Conversely, their assessment of Booker's potential and fit for their system likely provided the confidence to make the trade. This synergy between front office and coaching staff is critical in modern NFL teams, ensuring that roster construction aligns with the on-field vision. One cannot overlook the financial and contract implications of the trade either. NFL teams must constantly juggle salary cap considerations, and sometimes moving a player with a less favorable contract or uncertain future can free up space for other moves. While neither Bennett nor Booker are big-ticket veterans, the Raiders may have seen the trade as a way to optimize their cap space or create room for other signings or draft picks. Every roster move is influenced by this complex financial puzzle, and the Raiders' front office has shown a keen understanding of managing these constraints while still pursuing competitive upgrades. From a cultural perspective, the trade supports the Raiders' desire to cultivate a team identity rooted in toughness, commitment, and leadership. Bringing in a player like Booker, a former college captain with a reputation for work ethic and team-first mentality, aligns with the organization's values. The Raiders have spoken extensively about building a brotherhood and fostering an environment where players hold each other accountable. Leadership traits, often intangible and difficult to quantify, have become more valued than ever in this era of the NFL, where team chemistry can directly impact performance and resilience. Looking beyond just the individual players, this trade is a sign of the Raiders' larger rebuilding process. The team is striving to find its identity after several years of instability and coaching changes. This move signals a clear direction and a renewed focus on constructing a defense that can be both physically imposing and tactically flexible. The Raiders have prioritized physical traits such as size, length, and speed in their recent draft picks and acquisitions, and this trade fits neatly into that overarching philosophy. Fans and analysts who critique the move often focus on Bennett's potential to develop into a productive cornerback. It's true that with his speed and ball skills, Bennett could have had a chance to flourish under a different system or with more time. However, in the NFL, talent alone is rarely enough. Fit, opportunity, coaching, and health all play critical roles in a player's success. The Raiders' decision reflects a holistic evaluation of these factors rather than a purely talent-based judgment. They are essentially betting on a different type of player to bring more immediate value and consistency to their defense. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on our Las Vegas Raiders. And don't be shy. Drop your thoughts on the news in the comments below. The NFL world is buzzing with whispers and murmurs that could redefine the AFC power balance. Reports suggest a confirmed trade between the Cleveland Browns and the Las Vegas Raiders involving superstar edge rusher Miles Garrett. While official statements remain scarce, insiders close to the league hint that the deal has quietly been finalized behind closed doors. The sheer magnitude of this alleged transaction has sent shockwaves through front offices and locker rooms across the league. Garrett, a generational talent and the cornerstone of the Browns' defense for years, would represent a monumental acquisition for the Raiders, who have been desperately searching for a dominant defensive presence to complement their emerging offensive core. The timing of this potential trade is especially intriguing as both teams gear up for training camp, fueling speculation that the Raiders made an aggressive push to elevate their roster in a highly competitive AFC West division. The move, if confirmed, signals Las Vegas' commitment to making a deep playoff run, perhaps even contending for a Super Bowl appearance. As fans and analysts scramble for details, the NFL rumor mill churns at full speed, suggesting this could be one of the biggest trades in recent memory, shaking up league expectations. Speculation about what the Raiders might have given up to secure Miles Garrett is at an all-time high. Some sources claim multiple first-round picks were involved, while others believe a key player from the Raiders' offensive unit may have been part of the package. One unverified report even mentioned the name of star running back Zamir White being included, though that remains far from confirmed. What is clear, however, is that the Raiders would not have landed Garrett without paying a steep price. The Browns, known for their calculated front office strategy under Andrew Berry, wouldn't part with such a game-changing player without long-term planning in mind. Analysts are beginning to debate whether this was a case of the Browns selling high or the Raiders overcommitting to an all-in strategy. Rumors also point to dissatisfaction brewing behind the scenes in Cleveland's locker room, potentially playing a role in Garrett's willingness to leave. Some insiders argue that Garrett was seeking a change of scenery, tired of carrying the Browns' defense year after year without meaningful postseason results. If these rumors hold weight, Las Vegas could be seen as an attractive destination for a player craving both team success and a fresh start. Meanwhile, Cleveland fans are reeling from the possibility of losing a player many saw as the face of their franchise. Social media has exploded with emotional reactions, ranging from disbelief to outrage, as loyal Brown supporters question the team's direction. Some argue that trading Garrett could signal a rebuild, especially if draft picks and young players were the primary return. Others are clinging to hope that the Browns' front office has a larger plan in motion, perhaps targeting a blockbuster signing or accumulating assets for a 2026 playoff push. Within the fan base, there's also speculation that locker room dynamics may have deteriorated, prompting the franchise to move on from Garrett while he still had maximum trade value. On sports radio, callers are demanding answers. Analysts are calling the rumored trade a gamble, and former players are weighing in with mixed reactions. Some praise the Browns for taking a bold step, while others view it as a catastrophic misstep. Until the front office breaks its silence, the air of uncertainty and emotional tension will continue to hover over Cleveland, with fans anxiously awaiting confirmation or denial of the rumor that has sent their football world into a tailspin. In Las Vegas, the rumor of Garrett's arrival has ignited a wave of excitement and cautious optimism. Raider Nation is already imagining the havoc he could wreak lining up opposite Max Crosby, forming what could be the most feared pass-rushing duo in the league. Social media posts from current players show enthusiasm, with cryptic emojis and subtle likes on posts hinting at the legitimacy of the deal. Head coach Antonio Pierce has not made any public comments, but his demeanor in recent media appearances has drawn attention for its uncharacteristic confidence. The possibility of adding Garrett instantly upgrades the Raiders' defense and sends a message to the rest of the league that Las Vegas is no longer in rebuilding mode. This would be a franchise-altering moment, especially considering the Raiders' struggles to establish a consistent defensive identity in recent years. Season ticket interest has reportedly spiked, with fans eager to see what could become a dominant, playoff-caliber defense. While questions remain about the overall cost of the trade and its long-term implications, one thing is clear. Even the mere rumor of Garrett joining the Silver and Black has changed the tone of the upcoming NFL season for both the team and its supporters. As the dust begins to settle, the larger implications of this rumored trade continue to ripple throughout the league. Rival teams are reportedly reevaluating their offensive line strategies in anticipation of facing a potentially lethal Raiders pass rush. The AFC West, already known for high-octane battles, might now become the epicenter of elite defensive matchups. For the Browns, the rumored departure of Garrett could mean a shift toward a more balanced or offensive-focused team identity, with speculation suggesting they may now pursue free agents or explore further trades. League executives have remained tight-lipped, adding to the air of mystery and keeping speculation alive. Some media insiders have hinted that the official announcement may be delayed until preseason games begin, possibly as a strategic move to control the narrative. Meanwhile, fans and analysts are left parsing every detail, every insider tweet, and every press conference in hopes of finding clues. Whether the trade is officially confirmed soon or continues to live in the realm of rumors, its mere existence has already stirred the NFL ecosystem. If true, the Miles Garrett trade could be remembered as one of the most daring moves in modern football history, reshaping the fortunes of both franchises involved. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Las Vegas Raiders, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.